So my name's Shay. I'm with That Plumber Dude, based out of Newport Beach, California.
I'm Rob, and our company's Precision Plumbing and Drains. I'm actually out of near Toronto, Canada.
Would you rather get sprayed in the face with something out of a mystery pipe or get your phone out of a porta potty?
Phone out of the porta potty, because at least I could put some gloves on, where if I'm getting sprayed in the face, I just don't want hepatitis or anything like that. So.
I'm going to agree with that one. Mind you, I have been sprayed in the face, and it's not fun, but I would probably choose a porta potty.
What would you say is the biggest job site disaster you've ever been on?
Flood, just massive flood. Like I've seen, I do a lot of high-rise apartment building work, and I've seen there's actually a video that's been kind of going viral. You see guys under a vanity sink, and the water's just billowing out, and the people are trying to vacuum it. I've been in that scenario, flooded like multiple units. That's about it. It's caught hundreds of thousands of dollars damage, and it's wild.
I mean, flooding, and then I think one of the worst, I do a lot of service plumbing, and I've been in some houses that probably should be condemned, and you get a call like, hey, the toilet isn't working, and then you walk in and you realize, well, yeah, it's not working because there's sewage everywhere and trash everywhere. It looked abandoned, pretty much.
Yeah.
And I told them I couldn't do anything until remediation actually came, because it was a health hazard. It was that bad.
Wow.
That's probably one of some of the worst type job sites.
And especially when they call you knowing you're coming, like you think they would try and
Clean up a
a little bit.
Yeah.
But for sure. Yeah.
What's the weirdest thing a customer's ever asked you to do?
I mean, one time someone asked me to wear like a cartoon suit. No, I'm just playing. Well, so recently I had a customer who asked me to come do a drain clean and told me I was not allowed in the house. And she wanted to make sure that I knew I wasn't allowed in the house before I showed up, and I had to clean the drain from the roof or a clean out. And when I got there, she again was very adamant, no access to the house, had no access to power except for one plug, and the plug turned out to not have any ground. So the whole thing was a weird situation, but I think she ended up being a hoarder, so she didn't want me in the house. But that's
So
kind
did you
of
end
weird.
up giving her like a tax? An additional tax? It's like, oh, I got to use my generator. It's going to be another 20%.
Luckily I had some battery powered equipment from Milwaukee that I tried to use, and it didn't work, so we ended up doing a jetter.
Gotcha.
And the jetter was able to take care of the issue. But
If you had to name your job as a reality TV show, what would you name it?
I'd probably keep it with my social, man, That Plumber Dude.
What's the one myth about the plumbing industry that's totally false?
I would say that it's just plunging toilets. There's so many different aspects to plumbing, whether it's water, sewer, gas. I like drain cleaning. I personally think it's fun, even though it can be dirty. But if you're not into that, if you got a weak nose, weak stomach, you can go your whole career without ever clearing a drain. You could just plumb water lines or sewer lines, like a new construction. There's plenty of different options. So if the dirtiness freaks you out, don't let that deter you, because there's so many different variations of plumbing you can get into.
Yeah, exactly. Like this old saying you always hear, shit runs downhill, paydays on Friday. Like you said, there's so many different aspects to it. It's not just that. You can get into all of it. So
Somebody that's getting into the trades, what would you give them advice on?
I would tell them to try and get in with like a local company, someone small maybe, get in and try and get some teaching on the tools right away. If there's a schooling that offers like a pre-apprenticeship program or something like that, try and grab onto that to get a little bit of knowledge on at least like parts and tools.
Keep the long-term goal, the vision, because you never know what kind of company you're going to get. And sometimes the company and the tradesman, the journeyman that you're under can be a little brutal. Sometimes you end up with a really solid company that treats you well, the journeyman treats you well, but sometimes you end up at a company where you're just kind of picked on and you're digging for a year or two, and you just got to be willing to put in the work and just kind of suffer through that with the long-term goal of the goal is to get in my own truck or to get into a truck and begin to make money that way. And sometimes I've seen guys who end up in a bad situation. They don't stick it out and they quit and they go, yeah, plumbing's just not for me. And I've seen other guys who kind of stuck it out. They got some of that experience and then they actually left to a different company and got out of that environment, but they had the experience of the year, whatever, that got them into a better company. So I would just say, whatever you do, just think of the long term and just kind of suffer through it till you get some experience and then start weighing your options if you're in that situation.
What's your guys' social handles?
I'm that plumber dude.
Precision Plumbing and Drains.